8,000 on every elevator and got 12,000. I've gotten 12,000 on the pie. I mean, you could go crazy and get this astronomical score, but it's impossible to have everything work over a 2.5 hour game. It's not going to work out. What was that, Ken?
Be careful saying it's impossible.
Oh, I don't want to say it's impossible. I guess there's, yeah, I don't want to say ever. Yeah, if you say impossible, then you're going to be looking like a fool, I guess. Not to say you're a fool, but. So I guess I won't say it's impossible. It's really, really difficult.
So do you have a sense of like, are you ever playing and you say, I'm going to quit, I'm nowhere near, I'm not on track?
Yeah, but I always know that the game can change. So if I'm not on pace early, I know that I can get points later. And if I'm on a really high pace, I know that this pie factory can get to where you only make 2,000, 3,000 points on it. This will kill your pace, this board, because you have to. Sometimes I get done with it and I have 0 points on the bonus. So that's why I never know if I'm never quitting until, you know, if there's only 2 levels left and I need 200,000 points, then I know I'm not going to be able to get that. So then I would probably just ditch the game. But yeah, the question.
Okay. Are you still actively pursuing Donkey? Oh yeah, so the question is, okay, which is harder, do you think, Donkey Kong Jr. or Donkey Kong?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Let me take a poll. Who plays Donkey Kong Jr. as well?
Kill screen.
Okay, who thinks Junior's harder?
Hmm.
Who thinks Donkey Kong's harder? Yeah, I think Junior has
Ouch.
Sparks, the Mario's hideout. And the spring are,
those crows are tight.
Once you have the pattern down, it's just the same exact thing.
Really?
You know the birds where they're dropping the eggs and you're on that spring. So there's 2 boards that are just patterned, as long as you don't mess the pattern up. But and then the keys was actually my favorite board out of all the Donkey Kong. I love moving the keys up and fitting in. There's like a gap this size. It's a little smaller than Donkey Kong Jr. actually. They're going right through Junior's head.
Yeah.
There's like this horizontal gap. So I love the keys of all the Donkey Kong games. And then the vines is pretty easy if you're not point pressing. But if you're point pressing vines, that's where it gets where you can die. But Junior is easier, I think. Yeah, question.
Is there a point in Donkey Kong, point in the game where difficulty maxes, or is it constantly?
Yeah.
Right.
Level 5 is where the game just repeats. Yeah. Good question. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you kind of have a sense when it's near the ladder. You got to have, you know, and it doesn't work in the first couple levels. I think Dean again had a stat like after the bonus goes down to some number, then they start reacting. But the very first level, they're not going to react as much. So I don't really count on it. The level 4 barrels and on, they're pretty much 95% going with your motions. And then that time that they don't go. So if we go back to a barrel board, maybe. I don't know if it's possible to get to a barrel screen real easy. Go quickly there.
Wow.
So if you point press the barrels and you're down on the bottom hammer, and you get this hammer down here, and then they don't react to your hammer, then you're in trouble. Because you're trying to steer them so you're going to be free to go up. But that's where sometimes they seem like they're not biting your bait. Yeah. But most of the time they're going after that motion. If you're running towards the ladder, like if you start here and you're running here, it's going to go down there, yeah. But it's got to be within when the barrel's right in that area where it will fall, it has to be some motion left. So a tap would work. And even when I'm in midair, if jumping another barrel, and I'm kind of looking above and seeing what other barrels are coming down, I'll be thinking about that and move in midair. I'll move my controller, and it will respond. if it's right. Yeah, so I've heard that people too having problems with the control. I think it's just the timing. Yeah, if you're doing it too early or too late, it's not going to work. It's got to be when the barrel's right near that ladder that you want it to go down. You have to have it an input somehow, either running or a tap, somehow left input. Yeah.
It's a little different. So the people who wrote the code for this game, I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with them. This is a fairly recent game in
No,
in history.
they're around.
Have you talked to the Japanese people, the American people that wrote this? Like,
I haven't met them or even talked to them.
I think it answers some questions.
Yeah, they would know in the code. They would probably tell you, "Yeah, we're trying to kill Mario, so we're going to make the barrel go down." But
Like a few of these theories of like when it hits that note or when it's
yeah,
here,
they could answer it, or
I'm just curious, I don't know.
they probably could answer a lot of those. Some of them, if, I don't know if they would know all the little details of what the code does, but they may.
I mean, it's fairly simple. It's only a few K of code, right? So they must
Yeah.
know well, what's random, what's not kind of thing.
Yeah, they would know the randomness of the barrels being hit for 358. Isn't the code available out there somewhere?
It's been studied pretty heavily.
It's been studied, so a lot of these questions have been. Yeah, they know, and there is code. In the code, it tells the barrels to go down and try to get Mario. But the times that it doesn't, I don't know how it. If there's some randomness to knowing when to go try to get Mario, or why it doesn't always go and get Mario. Does that explain? I don't know.
I'm surprised it's published.
There's
Yeah.
some discussion about, and in the code, about what percentage it is. It's like 85% they follow.
They follow. Okay, so the programmers didn't make it automatically go to this
It's not
code.
100%.
Yeah, it's not 100%. So yeah.
I wanted to mention, I never was one to point press because it's kind of something new that I've learned since King of Con came
Yeah.
out and everything. I've got about 300,000, close to 400, but I never did it through point pressing. And now this is kind of a new discovery, so I'm decidedly, I'm staying with the old way because it's hard to like learn a new way to.
Oh yes.
But I did notice that years ago there were red machines where you could actually hang on the ladders.
Yeah.
Maybe you could share that with the.
Yeah, the first games that came out was the Japanese board set, I think.
The retroscope.
What
Those
was
are the retroscope.
the
Those
retro
are,
or the radar scope.
yeah, those are the red
Yeah,
ones.
what he's talking about, you can sit on this ladder with your hand right up here, and no barrels will ever come down.
It's kind of a cheap way to get on the
So,
board.
yeah, I don't even think I would, even if you could do that, I wouldn't even play it that way, because I'm so
Well,
used to
some of the stores in the area, that's all you had.
Yeah.
So you kind of learned that.
You
trick.
learn that. I remember playing it that way a little bit back then. So I don't know if there's any. I'm sure those boards are out there somewhere. Someone that has them, but they've changed them all. They must have. All the arcade owners must have got mad and said, "This game's people are playing forever. We gotta make it harder." So probably that's what happened. But what he was talking about, you're talking about trying to change your style of game, right? Because
Yeah.
before the point pressing got to a point where you have to do all these hardcore point presses to get the record, I wouldn't even get the bottom hammer. But once I started working with that, it took me a long time to get that dialed in where I had it figured out. Because I would get down here and then you would end up getting hit because the barrels would be in a spot where you're in a predicament and the fireball's going to be coming up. So I had to work on that strategy to get it down to where I could survive.
I've heard that you don't take the bottom hammer on the first 4 levels of the barrel board.
Yeah, I've
Is that
stopped
true?
doing that because the points earned. What happens is if you start dying so many times on the first few levels, and you get burned out, and then eventually I can't even get past the first screen because I'm trying to get so many points on the first screen. So I figured, why fight for another 2,000-3,000? Just get through level 4, because that's the level where after level 4, there's none of those crazy barrels that